Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Galaxy, your host on Comic-Con Radio. Today we have a special interview with Patrick Gilmore from Travelers. Travelers is an amazing show on Netflix. The third season's coming out this holiday season. Don't miss it out. Patrick plays the character of David Mailer. We have him live here on Comic-Con Radio. Please remember, if you love this show or all our other episodes, go ahead and subscribe. You can subscribe at iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, Overcast, OMG. We got like 50 platforms. Just subscribe to Comic-Con Radio and enjoy us every day. Okay, let's get with the show with Patrick Gilmore. Love you guys. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Galaxy signing in for Comic-Con Radio. Coverage of pop culture events from around the globe. Amazing interviews with celebrities. Daily recaps and reviews of popular television. The Walking Dead. Z Nation. Van Helsing. DC Titans. Flash. The Legends of Tomorrow. Black Lightning. American Horror Story. Green Arrow. Movie reviews. Everything Comic-Con and fandom from around the globe. Comic-Con Radio. Get ready to enter our universe. Let's go. Hey, Patrick, what's up, buddy?
How you doing?
How you doing, man? How you doing? Sorry, I have too much energy. I don't drink coffee, and I don't drink caffeine, but it's amazing to have you on Comic-Con Radio today. When we heard that we're going to have you on the show, we were like, yeah, another Canadian boy in the house. I love how Canada's so involved in the sci-fi world. They're coming out with such amazing shows. But I wanted to know, you were born in Canada, correct?
Yeah, born and raised, Edmonton, Alberta.
Nice. How was it growing up in Edmonton?
I always say Edmonton it's a wonderful place to grow up. Alberta's like the Texas of Canada, so it's a lot of cowboys and sports and oil. But it's still home to me. So yeah, I can't complain.
Do you still live there, or do you just visit there every now and then? Where are you residing these days?
I split my time between Vancouver and LA, but Edmonton's very rich in its theater community, but the film and television community isn't as strong as you would find in, say, Toronto or Vancouver, especially Los Angeles or New York. So it's growing, but when I decided to make this my job, I had to leave Alberta in order to find work that would finance my life. So, because theater does not pay the bills.
No, I understand that. That's, coming from Canada, I know there wasn't a big acting scene back in the days, but I know it's grown, and I've actually met a lot of amazing actors from Canada, and, when you were a kid, did you want to be an actor, or was there something else? Yeah,
it's... I'd like to say I did. I didn't know any actors. I didn't know how to be in movies. I mean, let me think, what did I want to be? I wanted to be a skier, a downhill skier, because I used to do that. I used to make my friends laugh. So at one point, I think like in grade 3, I was going to be a stand-up comic. I didn't even know what that meant. I wanted to be a pilot. And then I was just too busy socializing. It wasn't until high school when, they started saying, like, you need to decide what you want to do when you grow up. And I was making videos with my friends, just with a camcorder that I stole from my dad. And I just said actor, just to get them off my back. But even after I graduated from high school, I had no idea I didn't know any actors. I mean, not mmany people do. It's and when I said I wanted to be an actor when I was still living in Alberta, people laughed at me because they thought I was kidding. How did that go? They laughed at Edmonton because they thought you were kidding. In Vancouver, they laugh because they know you're serious.
That's true. But no, you said in Edmonton, when you say you're an actor, they laugh because they think you're kidding. But in Vancouver, they laugh because they know you're serious. So that's pretty cool. Yeah. That's a cool quote.
Yeah.
I hear you're an aspiring pilot. What got you into piloting? Is that what you call it, piloting?
Yeah, flying. I grew up in small planes, in a Cessna 185, and I just always assumed I would end up flying, but I never took the steps to do it until recently. I had a lot of downtime 1 year, and so I just started taking classes towards my pilot license. But right when it got serious, I started Travelers, and I just haven't had any time to finish it. So it's been like 4 years in the making right now. I've got enough hours. I just need to write the exams. But every time I think that, okay, now I got about a month off, I think I can really tackle it. Then something else comes up. So I can't complain. But yeah, I wish I was flying.
Get to it.
Thanks, buddy.
You'll get to it, brother. It's a fun thing. I've dabbled into it. I haven't finished yet, though. So I'm there with you, man. I'm like urging every second, go back, Galaxy. I'm like, I got to go back.
Yeah, I had the hardest part for me was meteorology and navigation. Math and the weather are it's just Greek to me. So that's the hardest part for me. The actual, concrete flying, the mechanics of flying, I have no problem with. I've done the solos with the circuits, but that seems easy to me. But when you get into the types of clouds and reading the weather, I tune out. So I need to tackle that. I need to grow up.
No, you're growing up, buddy. You're growing. I read somewhere that you got to meet your idol Harrison Ford, and you got to shoot the, what I'm saying, with him about flying and all sorts of other stuff. Was that day really cool for you when you met him and you got to talk?
Oh man, I still have to remind myself that it happened. It was such a brief meeting, though. I think we spoke for all of 10 seconds. Maybe it was a little more than that, but I went to an aviation awards show in Los Angeles last year, and he was one of the keynote speakers. And so just as he was leaving, I managed to introduce myself and tell him that I was getting my pilot's license, which he found interesting. But then I got to tell him that I was also an actor, and for the most part, thanks to him, because it was movies like Wars and Indiana Jones that were the biggest influences on me as a kid, and wanting to act and make believe and the types of roles I wanted to play. I wanted to be Harrison Ford, so I got to thank him for that. And I was worried because they always say never meet your heroes, and he's never really seemed like the most approachable guy, and he doesn't need to kiss anybody's ass, so he's pretty gruff. But I couldn't let that opportunity pass, and I was so glad I did, because he was so cool, and he encouraged me to keep acting and keep flying, and then he was ushered away. Yeah, man, I can't believe that happened. It's pretty cool, and I even got a photo with them, so I made pillowcases out of it, and got a poster
pillowcases with that above my bed. Do you sleep under it every night?
No, I don't. Yeah, I kiss Harrison every night before I go to bed.
Oh boy, boy.
It's pretty cool.
I don't think you said that anywhere else, right? Is this the first place you said you made pillowcases with Harrison Ford's face?
It's an exclusive. Yeah, I've got Harrison Ford bed sheets.
Oh boy, is it the full body, or is it just his head on the sheet?
Just his head. So I tuck his eyebrows into me. Yeah.
That's cool, man. You're a cool dude, Patrick. What got you to acting in all these sci-fi stuff? It's a hit show after a hit show. I know Travelers is in season 3 on Netflix, and you were on Stargate and all that stuff. What got you into the sci-fi world? What made you want to be into this so much?
Well, it's less a matter of wanting to and more just a coincidence. It's Vancouver. Vancouver's been kind of a hub for sci-fi for decades. And I've always meant to go back and kind of figure out why that is. And it might have to do with tax credits, or just the ability to have forests and deserts and all these different types of landscapes that can lend itself to a sci-fi story. But Vancouver was just made kind of a hotspot for it with shows like X-Files and Battlestar. And so when I was leaving Edmonton, I had the choice of Toronto or Vancouver, and Vancouver was so close. So I just happened to be here. And so the shows we were auditioning for were, Stargate was well established here. Of course, I said X-Files, and a lot of Smallville, Supernatural. It seems to happen here. I'm assuming less so now that everybody's got a network, whether it's Facebook or Hulu or there's so much content out there that I think that most cities have at least some sort of sci-fi contingent. But for me, it was just having to be in Vancouver and then slipping into the Stargate family, and of course doing little spots on all the DC shows. And I've just been lucky. And I say lucky because the fans of sci-fi are like no other genre out there. They're so supportive and so invested in the product and in your career that I've been very lucky. Yeah.
No, they're great. You know, sci-fi fans, Comic-Con fans, the fandom world, they're amazing. I love them. On every episode, I say I love you to them because this is our universe. And, you know, I didn't want to bring this up in today's interview, but it was so sad today. You know, Stan Lee passed away today. And I wrote something on Instagram and Twitter, and it really hurt me a lot because I got into this world because of him. Did you hear about that? Did that affect you a little bit? Or?
Yeah, it did. I never grew up with the Marvel comic books. I wasn't much of a fan of the comics, but the ones I was, I mean, Stan Lee had his finger in every jar. You know, I was an Indiana Jones comic book fans. Well, of course, he was part of that as well, and G.I. Joe. And even if you didn't think you were directly influenced by Stan Lee, he has had an indelible impression on storytelling, especially in this day and age when so much of film and television is comic book based. But he was a pioneer. It's really, he's timeless too. And so I still hasn't really sunk in that he's gone. Yeah, it's just the news is so depressing. So when you wake up and you hear that, it's just like, oh, God.
You know, he was going through a lot of things, but we always say God bless Stan, and we'll miss him. And I know that he's had an effect on a lot of things in the universe and your universe. And I tell everyone, I call it the universe because whether it's Marvel, DC, Sci-Fi, AMC, they're all their own little universes. And you're on the Netflix universe, and you're on this amazing show, Travelers, on Netflix.
Oh, good segue.
And you're David Mailer. What made you want to be David Mailer?
Yeah. Brad Wright, the creator of the show, made me want to be David Mailer. Brad Wright's well known as the man who brought Stargate to TV, and he's been a champion of mine since my days with Stargate Universe. And when Stargate Universe ended, you know, everyone kind of goes to their corners and continues their careers, and Brad kind of went into his cave and started writing, and he wrote the role of David for me, which was the first that's ever happened. And when I got the audition, I read the sides. It was a voice I knew. It was a voice I recognized. It was a cadence and a timing that I knew I could do. And Brad told me, well, that's because I wrote it with your voice in mind. So I've been so lucky again, just to have people like Brad Wright in my corner.
He hooked you up.
But Travelers has been, yeah, man. He's a pioneer unto himself, and I'll forever be grateful for him.
That's cool, man. Everybody has somebody they like look to, and that's great that you say it, because a lot of people, I interview a lot of people in all walks, either actors or producers, or you know, they don't give a lot of accolades to someone, and that's really cool of you. And that's what I've noticed with a lot of the Canadian actors I interview. You guys are really down to earth and really different. You're awesome. Was there anybody that you told first when you got that acting gig? Who did you like run to and say, I'm on, you know, Travelers on Netflix and they wrote this for me? Ha ha ha.
I don't know if I really told anybody. I think it's less being humble than it is just having been in this industry for so long that I know that things can disappear so quickly. So until, you know, the contract is signed and I've been on set, I typically don't celebrate a role because they can go away. Things can happen so quickly in negotiations or in, I'm so superstitious that way. Like I booked a movie that I'm supposed to start filming in a month, and I haven't told anybody. I haven't celebrated. I'm not excited about it yet because it could all go away.
I know the name of the movie.
So
Should I say it or keep it a secret?
Well, I don't know because it all seems so theoretical right now. So, but I'm like that with most projects. I kind of keep it under my hat, and then even my parents, like, I'll just start promoting something when it starts airing, and they'll be like, "When did you do this?" Well, yeah. So yeah, it's less being humble and more just being superstitious. And
you're not the first person, Patrick. you're not the first person, man. I speak to so many people. They're like, I don't like to share it until I see myself on the poster or a trailer. I'm not going to announce it because this happened or that happened.
We've all ended up on the cutting room floor. Sure.
Wow, that's not cool. They should never put you on the cutting floor. You know, you're too cool for that, buddy.
Yeah.
But,
you're too kind.
Yeah, hey, I gotta be kind, right? You're here on Comic-Con Radio. We gotta, we're all positive here. All our shows are positive because our universe is positive, and we gotta keep this real. I know there's a lot of fun things that happen on set, right? There's a lot of fun things that happen on set. I hear all these stories. Was there an OMG moment on set with you on Travelers?
You got to be more specific. An OMG moment, like
say, oh my God, this is surreal, or oh my God, am I really here?
Oh yeah, there's glorified moments that you're on set and you look around and go, oh, I've always dreamed about doing a scene like this, and having these moments, and I'm treading very carefully. But a lot of cool set pieces, a lot of cool. They give David so much cool stuff to do in season 3 that there are moments where I have to pinch myself and go, I'm so lucky that I'm able to pull off something like this. I mean, the very first shot that we ever did of Travelers was an OMG moment, just because we were doing something new. And I happened to be in the very first scene with Mackenzie Porter. And in the middle of the take, we just kind of stopped and looked at each other going, oh my God, we're doing this new TV show. No one's seen it before. We don't even know what it looks like ourselves. This is pretty cool. I think the fact that we're able to be actors is always an OMG moment. Like, how are we getting paid to make believe? I'm always pinching myself. It's so surreal. And I'm always assuming someone's going to take it away at some point. So every moment on set is kind of pretty. That's such a lame answer. I know you're looking for something bigger, but
no, that's cool. It's cool, man. It's cool. It's your story, right? That's your OMG moment. OMGs are whatever people make of it. And that's a great OMG moment because that resonates and that you still remember that. And, with Mackenzie, you were like, oh my God, I'm doing this. I'm acting on a set. We're getting paid. Oh my God. That's cool. Is there anyone on set that you go to when you're like, oh my God, I need help or anything like that?
Well, most of my stuff is with Mackenzie. And thank God for that. Such a consummate professional, and we've been kind of hand in hand. We've gone through it all together, and any time that it's getting a little too much or we have questions, we vent or we figure it out. She's been the best partner. And that might sound kind of like I'm just paying lip service, but I have to emphasize that because so much of my stuff is with Mackenzie, it means so much to me that she is just as excited about her job and is so intelligent and grounded and such a fantastic artist. If she was anything else, it could have been easily a nightmare. Could you imagine working day in and day out with somebody who you couldn't stand?
It's been great working with her. That's really awesome. And that's awesome that you guys have that that back and forth, and her role is pretty great. Now I had something to share with you. I like traveling, in time. I'm so into time travel, but I'm not weird about it. What do you feel about time travel?
Oh, I'm weird about it. I love it. I'll take in anything that has anything to do with time travel. And I remember before I started Travelers, I went through a kick and I watched everything I could find on it. So yeah, anytime there's a show that has anything to do with time travel, I'm hooked. I'm trying to think of what my favorite one is, but there's so many. You ever seen the movie Primer?
Yeah, great movie.
Yeah, I mean, great movie, low budget, but it's probably one of the coolest time travel movies that they've made. But yeah, I think it must have been Star Trek 4, or maybe it was Back to the Future. But ever since I can remember, I've just been fascinated with the idea of time travel. So I get nerdy with it. I know that there's so much more time travel shows out there right now because I can't keep up with the content. I don't even have a Netflix account because there's just too much to watch, and everyone's recommending things I've never heard of before. So I'm sure there are time travel shows out there that I haven't seen. But
there's a lot of different things out there. Like you said, on Netflix, there's so many different television shows. Your week, and especially here at Comic-Con Radio, we cover so many of these fandom, I call it our universe type of shows, from Flash, Arrow, this, that, and all that. And it just keeps you so busy. Like there's so much content out there. People are so lucky, these days. Now, you were on Stargate and you played Dale. How did you kind of change your mindset from being Dale than being David? Was there like a big change you had to do mentally for that?
That was a big distance. So by the time that Travelers came around, Dale Volker was drifted out of my periphery. But Dale Volker was one of these roles that just wasn't necessarily conceived to begin with. It was more of they cast a number of actors to play quote unquote scientists, and then they just waited to see what the actors brought to the roles, and then fleshed them out if they weren't killed off. And I was lucky enough not to be killed off. And so, Dale Volker was kind of funny. They're different guys because Volker was he's a bit of an elitist, very proper. Man, I've forgotten all about Dale Volker. He was kind of a fun guy, but it's interesting. It was one of the first times I was able to revisit a character and not just do like a few episodes of a show. I was with Dale Volker for 40 episodes. So he becomes kind of real. And that's a surreal experience. Like David Mailer is a separate guy. It feels like somebody I know. But yeah, no, there was a lot of time between the roles, so it wasn't hard to transition from one to the other.
That's pretty wicked. I know there was some time in between. I just wanted to say that because I've spoken to people and they're like, yeah, I played this role 8 years ago, but I still feel that person in me. And I sometimes, and playing somebody for 40 episodes or now 3 seasons as David, like it's crazy. Now, is there a little bit of David and Patrick, out there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because, Brad Wright wrote it for me. So it definitely has my melody, my what's some words I can go to? I've never been to acting class, so shocker. But so I don't have I don't know the terms, but he has my cadence, he has my rhythm, he has like I said, my vocal melody, almost heightened to a comical effect. I mean, there's I push it a little bit, but he's a very positive guy, and I am not. And he thinks the best of humanity. I assume the worst. So there's a nice difference, a nice way to differentiate when I'm being David and when I'm being Patrick for myself. But David will be, I think, a character that I take with me more so than Volker, I think, because I appreciate the positivity that David sees in the world. I envy it, and I try to emulate it a little bit. And I notice that when I'm filming Travelers, I kind of take that on a little bit, and I'm a little more of a extrovert, and I expect the best of people. But we wrap season 3 in July, and I'm right back to being just kind of grumpy shut-in Patrick, which suits me just fine. But I do miss David, and whenever the show does end, I hope I take a lot of him with me.
That's a great thing to take with you because, it takes a certain someone to play these characters. It takes a certain energy. Do you have this mental kind of room you go to in your mind? What do you do to prepare to become, David on set? What do you do with yourself?
I'd be social. I'd be social. I'm also an English
social,
major.
Brother.
Yeah. No, typically when I'm on set, I kind of keep to myself, and but depending on the role will depend on how I kind of act on set. Not to the extent that I'm going method and holed up in my trailer, but David loves people, and David's interested in people, and so regardless of how Patrick's attitude and mood is going to work that day, it's a great exercise that I'll go in and I'll make sure that I'm really chatty with the hair and makeup, and that I'm, I chat with all the crew just before we start getting ready to work, because it gets you in that, it gets you into that David skin. And And it's also nice just to be friendly to everybody on set. But there are certain roles, when you're playing a villain or something a little darker, that it'll behoove you to retreat from that social interaction. But I find I'm almost using the cast and crew to get into character, but it helps because that's who David is. David would be the guy that's asking everybody questions and chit-chatting. So I think that's kind of one of the things I do.
That's what I got from that, because you said that you're in real life, you keep to yourself, you're quiet, you're a humble guy, and then David has to be like, hey, what's up, buddy? Hey, what's going on? And that's great that you take that moment while you're on the chair doing your hair and makeup and just to prepare for the role. That's a great thing. Now, does that spawn from kind of like your education? Because I know, unlike a lot of other people that went to just acting school, you went to, regular university and college, and you have a different type of education. Does that kind of worked into helped your life in acting a little bit?
I think that the fact that I haven't been to acting school has detracted from my craft and my ability. I think that it would do nothing but help. However, having come into this industry from a very blue collar, I did construction. I went to got a degree in English literature and history. It's a very, I guess it's all storytelling, but I think coming at it from a completely different angle, rather than having, been in acting classes since I was a teenager and just been immersed in that, I think that gives me a different perspective and breaks certain paradigms that actors might find themselves in if they have been immersed in the art from the beginning. This is just a theory. I have no idea, but it's like, I was telling somebody recently, somebody who wanted to be an actor, and they said, what should I do? And one of the things that I just came up with was, a lot of people say is, you should travel. You should see how other people live and learn stories and see human interactions and personalities and cultures, because all of that informs your choices and brings color to your choices that you might not find if you've spent your whole life in one classroom. So yeah, I in an attempt to find something positive about not going to acting class, I think that there's a way to look at it that says that I'm able to bring something different, something natural, something more to color my performances from my travels and my education that is outside of the art. But again, these are all just working theories, and but I know that if going to school and going to class and studying and knowing that terminology that I'm lacking would do nothing but help my performance, and that's something that I'll look into once I have the time and finish my pilot's license. Then I'll go to acting school.
That's it. You could always go and hire somebody and be like, hey, teach me some cool terms about acting. But, who else got a degree in literature, right? It adds diversity to who you are, And I see your photos, you always have like this smirk. Like, it looks like you're like thinking something. What are you thinking sometimes when you take these photos and you have this smirk on your face and you always keep your mouth a certain way? I said, I got to ask Patrick, what is he thinking at that moment?
Holy shit. Mostly just like, when can I get out of these clothes and go home? Photo sessions are just brutal for me. It's cliche, but it's that, like, give me a character and I'll perform the character, but tell me to be myself, and I'd rather do anything else. But that smirk is just a shit-eating grin of how ridiculous this whole scenario is. But you try to bring out yourself. I mean, in these photo sessions and editorials, that okay, now you're promoting Patrick, not a role, not a show. You're promoting Patrick, but that's always just such an uncomfortable proposition. Yeah, it's a 99% good bet that anytime you see a photo of me, what I'm thinking of is how uncomfortable I am.
I see those
Yeah.
photos, man. I see your eyes, the way you're looking at the camera. You got this like smirk. You're like, "What the f am I doing here? Get me on
Yeah.
a set. Get me the hell out of here."
Yeah, 100%.
That's cray, right? So,
Yeah.
here's the thing. I know on set you were working with some amazing actors and actresses. You're going to have to say actors and actresses. So, Eric McCormack, how do you like working with the dude?
Oh, yeah. Have you got an hour? This guy is
I do.
the real deal.
I got an hour.
He's exactly what you want him to be. And you never know. I mean, especially, you're going in, you see somebody who was as high profile as he was with the first run of Will and Grace. And the first thing he did to me was hug me and tell me I smelled great. And it was love at first sight. And he's become a very dear friend. And he's one of these examples that when someone finds success or when someone does well in their profession, it means so much more when they're deserving of it, when it's someone you like. And he's a guy that deserves everything. He deserves that walk on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, that star. He deserves to be on one of the number one sitcoms on network TV. He deserves it all. He is such a generous, talented man, and I've learned so much from him. I always say he's a master class in comedic timing, and whenever we're working together, I'm just studying. I'm just so distracted that I might not even be doing my own job because I'm just studying how he does his.
You're like, what was the line? Can you repeat that again?
Yeah. I was too busy watching Eric McCormack act.
Yeah, and they're like, are you going to do pillowcases and sheets for Eric?
Yeah. When's I get a guest bedroom? He'll have a whole outfit.
You heard that, Eric. He's going to do a whole bedroom with you everywhere.
Yeah. Headshots and
everything, and tuck in the eyebrows. Isn't it cool that the Sci-Fi Universe, it's your universe, right? Because you're, Eureka, Galactica, whatever, Stargate, Travelers, this, that, all these different shows, that's kind of like your build on. And, all these like high profile actors, as you said, high profile, they're like leaning towards the genre of sci-fi and zombie, like, I'm noticing so many high-profile actors getting into the genre. How does it feel that they're all coming in kind of like your space, and you're like, whoa, this is cool because it's good for it?
Yeah, I would never consider it my space. If anything, I'm visiting someone else's space. I mean, think of the people that have come before. I mean, you want to talk about Canadians, William Shatner and Michael J. Fox, for God's sakes. I mean, greatest time travel movie franchise ever. But yeah, not only is it the fan base, but the beautiful thing about sci-fi, and a great example of this is Doctor Who, which I'm ashamed to admit I've never seen, but I know the premise, is that if you were going to tell a story, a dream that you've had, the easiest way to do it would be in animation, because in animation you can do anything. With real life actors and everything, you're kind of stuck with human beings in a tangible set, and you can do anything. And sci-fi is kind of comparable in that way, because if it's a medical drama, you're in a hospital and you have doctors and nurses and patients, and it's going to be the same every episode. With sci-fi, you can do anything you want. You can go to different planets, for God's sakes. You can go in different times, different dimensions. You can switch bodies. You can be in any type of vehicle you want to be. There's no limits to it. When I hear someone's not a sci-fi fan, I feel sorry for them, because there's just so much to offer. It's not all Star Trek and Star Wars. It can be so nuanced, and it can go into dreams where typical reality-based shows can't. So yeah, I mean, the more high-profile actors and talent that gets drawn into the sci-fi world, the better, because it's going to expose this genre to so many more people, and it's just going to up the quality of sci-fi. We're in such a great time for television, and it shows. I mean, some of the greatest TV shows that have ever been made have been made in the last decade, and they're all sci-fi based, whether it's Westworld or Game of Thrones. Oh wait, I guess is Game of Thrones sci-fi or fantasy? Have I kind of buggered that up?
It could
The
be.
point is,
It could be whatever you want it to be.
yeah, it could be whatever.
Hey, it's sci-fi now that you said so.
Yeah. I hope that answers your question. That was kind of long-winded.
You're like, yeah, that's it, buddy. the Games of Thrones kind of like messed you up there, but it's like it's all good because
yeah, there you go. That theory just fell apart. But,
Games of Thrones is Games of Thrones because they're not in our dimension. So anything not in our dimension is sci-fi. That's it. That's what you got to call it.
Sure.
Yeah. Right. Fair enough. Let's vote on that. Yes. Who else in the acting team that you have on Travelers? You're like, oh, you geek over. Who do you geek over on Travelers?
Oh no, I do. Like I geek over Jared Abrahamson because he's like Canadian Tom Hardy. He's an actor you got to keep your eye on because he's so rich with talent that I'm always excited to hear what he's going to be doing next. I mean, I could go down the list. Nesta Cooper doing the Apple show C, which is going to be huge. I'm so excited about that. I mean, anything that Riley Dolman does, I mean, he could read a phone book and I'm glued to it because he's got so much charisma. I mean, and of course I've just been kissing Mackenzie's ass this whole time. But I've known Mackenzie the longest. We did a movie together, 6-7 years ago. And she's one of the, I think of the entire cast, one of the most well-rounded artists because she's an accomplished musician and singer and is currently in Nashville recording an album. So yeah, there's no lacking of gushing and fandom from my perspective with the cast that we have. And I could keep going with everyone who works on the show, but we really lucked out. It's been, I just wish I had more scenes with everybody else.
They will. They're gonna have to put you on. We're gonna tell all of our fans, let's have Patrick have more scenes.
Hey, tell him just to campaign for a season 4 because that's
hey, we've been doing
that's yet
that.
to be decided.
We started this thing called #WatchLive. We did it at Comic-Con Radio, and we went ahead on, we've been helping out Van Helsing, and past 3 episodes, their ratings like doubled and tripled. So we're going to get our, team together, and we're going to do Watch Live with you guys. And I know it's on Netflix, so it's a little different, but still, ratings.
Yeah, but it's just a matter
right?
of binging within that first week, right?
Binge it, baby. Everybody has to binge it. We're going to push this out. We're going to make it amazing because you're a cool dude. You've been cool, man. Like this whole interview, very calm, very collected. You're like, just.
You keep saying that, Galaxy, and I keep thinking, like, who are you interviewing? Are you just
I'm
interviewing a bunch
you,
of
brother. Hey, man. I guess you and David are very similar. You say you're not, but you are. And I understand that. I'm gonna ask you this geeked out question because I get questions from the fans. If you could time travel, where would you go?
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I love that one. I have so many different answers. I used to say I'd love to go to like 1920s Paris and experience that kind of expat Hemingway bohemian lifestyle. And then I'd like to go to the 60s and meet my parents when they were like in university.
Nothing past the 1900s.
Yeah, nothing before then. I don't know. Everything just seems so dark pre-1900. I'd love to see that kind of jazz culture of the 20s. I'd really like to experience that kind of Scott Fitzgerald swing culture. I'd love to dive into that. I mean, it was so filled. I mean, sure, there was the prohibition, but a lot of excess and great literature and the birth of like 1920s Hollywood. How cool would that be? Just to see nothing but orange groves and Chaplin at his peak. Yeah, okay, that's what 1920s Hollywood. There.
That's it.
Solved.
1920s Hollywood. If we see a YouTube video with Patrick on it, ladies and gentlemen, with holding a phone, we know he time traveled back in the past. Those videos on YouTube where
I love
like,
all that stuff. Yeah, I
actor
love
to
that.
the left and a
That
person
person's
on the right.
Sure. Yeah. I also like the ones where it's like, I swear to God, that picture from the 1800s is Nick Cage.
Yeah.
Like those.
I've seen that one too, right? I think everybody
Yeah.
looked like Nick Cage back in the Confederate times.
Yeah. Crazy? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Nick Cage. We're sorry. He's a time traveler. That's why.
I wouldn't doubt it.
He gets all these crazy roles, right? He travels time. So,
Yeah. Okay.
season 3 of Travelers is coming out in December. Are you excited about it?
I'm so excited. It feels like forever since we finished filming it, and so much has happened that even I've forgotten. So when it comes out, I'm going to be glued to it as well, and I'm going to binge that all 10 episodes in one evening. It's epic, man. It gets dark. I keep saying that every season, that this is darker than the first, but I'm so excited. Yeah, it's a pretty exciting season, pretty epic season, and everybody gets these OMG moments in the show that the fans are just going to go insane for. That's the one thing that's going to happen the day after that this airs, is I'll be glued to my Twitter feed just watching people's reactions.
That's going to be awesome. It probably feels so good when you're on a television show and then you can go right to your social media and people are watching it and they're like, oh my God. And you're like, I'm part of that. I made that happen. Because, regardless of anything, these television shows like Travelers has, millions of fans out there, whether they watch it on Netflix or not. You have the fans.
Mm-hmm.
And do you get to go to a lot of Comic-Con events because of the show?
I think I could. I haven't. I did a couple conventions when I was with Stargate, or after Stargate ended, but it's not something that I've kind of looked into. I was going to go to Dragon Con this year, but something came up and I wasn't able to go. But yeah, maybe after the third season there'd be more of a demand, because I know even Winona Earp, they've got specific cons just for Earpers. Is that what they're called, Earpers?
They're called Earpers, yes.
Yeah. So maybe there'll be traveler conventions. Who knows? But
well, we have a big event we're doing next summer, like our Comic-Con radio one, and we would love to have you on that. So we'll of course bring you on, and we would love to bring you on once the season of Travelers start, and bring you on for like a recap review show. I think it'd be really fun for you to kind of like recap the show with us.
Oh yeah, because once you've seen season 3, you're gonna have a lot of questions for me. Ugh.
You're like, I don't want to ask anything because I know you're going to be like, I got to be vague. I got to be vague.
I know, it's so spoiler.
Yeah. It's tough. I know that. You want to say it, but you can't. You're like, I can't.
Yeah, that's the toughest thing. I mean, with a lot of shows, they air episode every week, and you can kind of dole it out, and it spreads out that event of experiencing the show with the fans. But with Netflix, it's such a bizarre thing because within a minute it's released, within hours people are commenting on it, and it all happens at once, and it's climactic and then it's anticlimactic because everything you've worked at for 4 or 5 months and waited a year to put out is with a click of a button out there. And it's such a exhilarating and kind of an exhausting experience just to but thank God for social media, because without social media we wouldn't be hearing from these fans and we wouldn't know that people are watching it until weeks later. But with social media we know immediately, good or bad, what they think. So it's like live theater.
Oh yeah, it's amazing live theater. Isn't it crazy that with social media we like don't have history anymore? Everything's happening so in the moment that it's like that second.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
You feel that way too?
Yeah, it's exhausting. Yeah, and as an actor, you're it's part of your job. But I always think that if I wasn't in this job, I might be on Twitter just for the news, but I don't know if I would be posting anything else, because it all feels that's the point. It's you're promoting your business, and you're the business, but it all feels very self-congratulatory and dirty. I have a love-hate relationship with social media. Yeah, but for that reason alone, as an actor, having social media and hearing immediately from fans, even though that I might not be able to reply to all of them, just to hear that what you're doing makes a difference, or has affected somebody, or that they've just simply enjoyed it. Even if they don't, it's good to know. But with Travelers, there's been very little, if any, bad reviews. So, lucky us.
Hey, lucky you. It comes with the business, right? You got to take the good with the bad with the good. But so far, Travelers, it's amazing. Netflix is a great platform to be on there, investing so much on these television shows. So we're lucky to have Netflix. Now, is there anybody you're going to Netflix and chill on your premiere nights?
I think I'll be with my parents when it comes out.
That's cool.
And they've got a Netflix account. So, yeah, maybe I'll have to sit them down and force them to watch it.
That's it.
I say force them to watch it. I'm sure they'd happily watch it, but yeah, no, I think I'll be at my parents'. I think that'll be kind of a fun thing to do, and it's typically come out around Christmas or just before Christmas. So, yeah, it'll be a nice Christmas break to watch this third season.
Patrick Gilmore, Travelers for the holidays, right? That's your holiday gift to the world. There you go.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Watch me on Netflix.
Yeah.
Right? It's cool. Everybody's like, oh, what did I get for Christmas? Come on, Patrick, what did I get? You got me on Netflix. Now watch it and leave me alone.
Yeah, I might not be as gruff, but yeah. Here, Merry Christmas, season 3.
Do you ever use David to get away with something, or try to approach somebody? Do you ever use the David persona?
No, I don't know if I have. I don't know what a David approach to something would be, other than just kind of stumbling over my words and embarrassing myself, which I do without having to to consciously channel him. But I think with David, it's just, if I'm going to ingratiate myself to somebody, then yeah, I would channel David and put on that kind of David sweetness, but it's put on.
Yeah, you're like, okay, be David, get this done.
All right.
Be Patrick, and then chill.
Right. Yeah.
We'll call it Patrick and chill Travelers, right? Not Netflix and chill. So that's maybe the better way to put it.
Yeah, that'll be my new hashtag, Patrick and Chill.
That's it. I created it, okay? Remember that. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, I created hashtag Patrick and Chill, okay? So if you see it out there.
You will get full credit for that. Yeah.
Yes. So, Patrick, anything you want to announce, anything, what's in the future works for you, anything you want to say? I know you don't want to jinx yourself or anything, and I understand you, brother. You're a cool dude, but is there anything you want to say? Anything in the future? Come on.
Yeah, it's been a busy year. So I'm currently filming season 4 of You, Me, Her, which is a show from E1 DirecTV on Audience Network. So that's going to come out, I think, typically in the spring. And then for our Canadian audience, I did a show called Jann that's going to come out on CTV sometime in the spring as well. It's been nutty busy. So I'm looking forward to the December break and being able to Patrick and Chill. Yeah, and you can follow me. You can follow me on social media at Patrick Gilmore and see all those hashtags.
There you go. They're gonna see all of that. But You, Me, Her. That's a great show. That's on DirecTV here, right? Or Uverse now, all that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's been a super fun show, and we're right in the middle of it right now, actually.
Oh, you're in the middle of it. You're pretty busy, so that's 3 different television shows. How do you juggle all of them around?
Well, I've never had to before, so I mean, it's a matter of just throwing those balls in the air and hoping that I'm able to catch all 3 of them. I have no idea. We'll see when all this is over. But yeah, it's been nonstop, and again, you have those moments where even if you're kind of pissed off on set or things aren't going well, that it's so easy to kind of stop and go, come on, I'm getting paid to act. I'm living a dream. So it's as tough as it is. And I'm in bed right now as we speak, because I've got a hell of a cold, because I've just been kind of run down, but I wouldn't change it for the world. It's been a great year, and I can't wait for everybody to see all the things that has put me in bed sick right now.
Oh man, we hope you feel better.
Cool.
That's you just said it. Your hashtag. Patrick and chill because you're chilling in bed. That's cool.
all I'm doing. I'm just laying in bed. Yeah.
That's it, brother. Well, we want you to get better. And, so ladies and gentlemen, Patrick Gilmore from Travelers Season 3 is coming out this holiday season on Netflix. We have You, Me, Her coming out Season 4 on DirecTV and everywhere else. And Jann for the Canadian side. And, you could probably find it here and there in an app. But that's amazing. You're a cool dude, Patrick.
Yeah.
Everybody loves you.
Oh, thanks, Galaxy, man. So are you.
Yeah. Thank you. So we want you to Netflix and chill right now and get better. And thank you for coming on the show. And we would love to have you back in the future.
Sounds good. Thanks, bud.
All right, brother. You take care of yourself. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye-bye. What a cool dude. Right, guys? OMG. Thank you, Patrick, for coming on Comic-Con Radio. We appreciate you so much. Again, you could check Patrick on The Travelers on Netflix, coming out this holiday season in December, and all his other television shows. For more information on Patrick, you can go to his social media account. That's at Patrick Gilmore on Twitter and Instagram. And just follow him wherever because he's a cool, calm, collective dude. We had fun having him on the show. Really great guy. And we appreciate you for listening. Remember, you can subscribe to Comic-Con Radio on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Overcast, TuneIn, just about everywhere. Please go to comiccon-radio.com for more info. You could always give us a call, toll free, 1-800-976-0305, or go to our social media at Comic-Con Radio on Twitter and Instagram. Love you guys and gals. Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Galaxy with Patrick Gilmore on Comic-Con Radio. Love you all. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Love you till next time. See you then. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Galaxy signing out from another amazing episode of Comic-Con Radio. Tune in for your daily shows of Comic-Con Radio. Go to comiccon-radio.com. Reach us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, at Comic-Con Radio. You can call us toll-free right now. 800-976-0305. 800-976-0305. Comic-Con Radio, taking the world one listener at a time.